Hey, Snackers, this is Kareem Iskander.
Hey everyone, Matt DeNapoli here.
Welcome to episode 201 of Snack Minute.
Yeah, on this episode, Pat is back.
Yes, who's back? Very good.
He's
and
back again.
he's
Yes.
gonna be doing some busting of myths from what I
Yeah.
understand. Pat, for those who are new,
Yes.
as per usual, please introduce yourself and then we'll jump right into it.
Sure. Name is Patrick Gargano. I work with the content development team at Learn with Cisco. I'm responsible for the CCNA content in Cisco U and all of the SD-WAN content. So I focus primarily on the enterprise track. And I do a lot of advocacy. I go to conferences and I see you guys there, and we meet with our customers and partners and our the learners as well. And listen, over the past few years, I've talking to people at conferences and online. I keep hearing just bizarre misconceptions and strange kind of half truths and myths about our exams. And I thought, you know what we need to do? We need to do this, which is the Cisco Exam Mythbusters Snack Minute Edition.
Boom.
So the idea is I've got 5 myths today. And as you can see at the bottom left, I'm calling this episode 1. I'm trying to plug my own mini series within your Snack Minute universe.
Nice.
And hopefully you'll invite me back for an episode 2, and we'll do more of these myth busting exercises. So I've got 5 today for you. And the first 4 are pretty basic ones. And the 5th one, I think, where we're going to spend the most amount of time. I want to talk about the new labs that are in our exams. And I hear a bunch of stuff about that as well. So my idea here is I'm going to be putting you on the spot a little bit. I'm going to be asking you what you think about this myth, if it's true or false, if we need to debunk it or confirm it. And then I'll talk through some of the details around that. Does that make sense?
Works for me.
Let's do it.
All right. Myth number 1, gentlemen. Is it true that when you take an exam at a Pearson VUE testing center, you can write down notes during the exam? And at the same time, before I let you answer that one, people have been asking me a similar question when it comes to the online exam. Now, you guys know this. Early on in the pandemic, Pearson VUE released a program allowing you to be able to do your Cisco certification testing from home, right? So you download an application, it locks down your laptop, microphone turns on, camera turns on, someone keeps an eye on you, and you can do your exam. Fantastic. I've done a few of those, and they work really, really well. So anyway, so you can do an exam online, you can do them in person. What do you guys think? Is this true or false?
This is true because I think once you pass the check, you get in and you have a piece of laminated paper with a pen,
Okay, right.
and you can jot down everything that you remember, as far as I'm concerned.
Good. Very good. Okay, Matt, I didn't want to put you too badly on the spot. Have you
You know
taken
what?
any Pearson VUE exams?
I haven't done the online ones. I did one in a testing center,
Okay.
and I didn't recall the laminated sheet. And so I was going to answer that you could take notes, but that there was a notepad type application off to the side of the exam.
Nice. I pointed over here. You're on this screen, but yes, I'll point over. Yes, you're spot on. It's true, right? So in both cases, so as you were saying, Kareem, when you walk into the exam and they sit you down, they log you in, they're going to give you what we call a dry erase pad, if you like, or just like I said, a laminated sheet and a dry erase marker, and you can do whatever you want with it during the exam. You can't leave with it, right? So during the exam, you can do whatever you want. And before I get into that one, let me just cover the other one that you were talking about, Matt. So yeah, for the online version, there is actually a little button that you can click called Whiteboard, and it'll pop open, clearly what you're seeing there, a little widget whiteboard, and you can type and write down and draw a bunch of things on that. And what's really cool with the online one is it's persistent. So as you go through questions, it'll stay on the screen. You can hide it, you can bring it back, but it keeps all the info you've put in throughout your entire exam. And to your point, Kareem, yeah. So, and I'll be honest, I do exactly that. As soon as I sit down, I like to do a brain dump, right? I like to just write down a bunch of things that I'm kind of worried I'm going to forget. Right? I'm nervous, I'm stressed. There's some things that I want to jot down quickly. And I don't know about you, but I wrote down a couple of the things that in the past I would have maybe written down, right? My OSI model, my subnet calculation tool, or anything technical relating to OSPF or BGP or DHCP access lists. you name it. Is that something you've done as well, Kareem? In the past?
Yeah, I've done the what was it? Was it the can't remember from my CCNA days, the everybody liked pepperoni pizza or something like that. So
Oh yeah, please do not throw sausage pizza away.
yeah,
Please do not throw sausage. For sure, I've taught that for 25 years, and
that's the first thing. My top line for CCNA, I wrote this, so I have the OSI model, the
Nice.
subnetting for sure.
Yeah.
So you don't have to stress about it. Yeah, I think for the, I recall for the doing when I first did DevNet, I wrote down some just like differentiations in like the when this was like initial DevNet, dev associate, like, oh, this is the syntax for a JSON, and
Yes.
so it's just so I have an idea, maybe some for loops, just kind of pseudocode on my sheet, but that's the extent that I've done and I've utilized.
I'm left-handed, and so the annoying thing usually for me is by the time I'm done the exam, the whole side of my hand is black from writing stuff, not letting it dry, and then writing something else, and then wiping what I just wrote and having to write it again. Anyways, so, but I think the point I want to make, and I think Kareem, you would have noticed this as well, is that you can start writing stuff on this before starting the exam, right? Like they sit you down, and then you have to go through, there's a bunch of questions, right? Do you accept the agreement? Are you 18, right? There's a bunch of questions. But
in the tutorial,
exactly. So before you start the exam, you can just take 5-10 minutes there and just like write down all the stuff you're kind of afraid that you're going to forget during the exam. Anyway, so that myth number 1, gentlemen, is in fact true. You can write as much stuff as you want on this pad, and then you have to hand it over when you do leave the testing center. So
we're 1 for 1 now.
1 for 1. Well done. Bravo. Myth number 2. Here we go. The juicy one. Is it true that the only way to renew your current certification, so maybe you're a DevNet associate, maybe you're CCNA, maybe you're CyberOps, maybe you're CCNP, is the only way to renew that certification retaking the same exam? So what do you guys think?
I'm going to go first this time.
Okay, go.
False.
False. Okay. So Matt, you're saying there's other ways? Is that what you're getting at?
There are other ways, yes.
I'm going to put you a little bit maybe on the spot. Can you just name me one other way that you think is
CE credits?
Ooh, okay, right. So spoiler alert. Yeah, I'm going to get to the CE credits. That's so important. Kareem, do you agree with Matt?
Yeah, there are multiple ways you can renew your certification.
I don't know any other ways.
It's
okay. Well, let's have a chat about that. So yes, it is false, this one. So before we debunk it entirely, let's just set the scene for folks just to remind them. So most Cisco certifications, as you guys know, are good or active for 3 years, right? So you have to renew them to keep them live, if you like. The only exception is the CCST, which was lifetime, but recently got changed to a 5-year limit. There's actually a bunch of different ways that you can recertify. So in the question that I asked, yes, that is one way. So I'll give you an example. If you're a DevNet associate and you're coming up at the end of your 3 years, you could just redo the DevNet associate exam, and congratulations, you would recertify for another 3 years. So that's one way of doing it. You could also do another exam, either at the same level or higher level, because of what's happened with our recertification process. It's been hugely simplified. And I'm glad I was doing this with you guys today, because I actually looked into it, because what I thought it was actually completely wrong. We've really simplified it. We've made it a lot easier. And to your point, Matt, it's all now based around CE credits, continuing education credits. And hopefully people who are watching know what we're talking about here. If you don't, my goodness, we're going to have links in the description below. And please do check out everything to do with your certification tracking and your continuing education credits. Now, let's run through a couple of these easy ones. So when you take a Cisco exam now, here's what happens. Let's say I go and take the CCNA. I've never taken it. I go take the CCNA. I sit down and I pass the exam. Well, congratulations, you're now CCNA certified. So you get your certification in one hand. But in the other hand, you get a bunch of CE credits, and they go kind of like in the bank, right? They're assigned to your exam profile, if you like. And as you can see by the table at the bottom left, you would get 30 of these credits, and they go into your account, if you like. And now you can start using those to recertify other things, right? So you start accumulating them. And it's the same thing for professional concentration. You would get 40, A core exam, you get 80. And this is where things get really interesting. So here's a different scenario. Let's say you're already DevNet associate, and you go take the CCNA exam, right? So you have your DevNet associate, it was active, you go take your CCNA, you pass your CCNA. Congratulations, now you're doubly certified, but now you have these 30 credits. Well, guess what? Those 30 credits are used to renew or recertify your DevNet associate. And now the date for both are starting at the date that you took that CCNA exam. So your 3 years for both of them start at that point. Did you guys follow that logic? Did I make
Yeah, it makes sense.
This is so easy and so much cooler than what it used to be, where you had to combine an exam and credits, and it was so complicated. It wasn't so complicated, but it was more complicated. This is a lot easier. But to your point as well, Matt, are there other ways of recertifying? Well, if we know that it's all now tied into CE credits, I guess the question to ask ourselves is, are there other ways of accumulating CE credits? Yeah. Yes, exactly. And that's what I did at the bottom right there. I went into Cisco U and I took a screenshot of the Enterprise Core learning path. What you can see is I've highlighted the 64 CE credits that you get when you successfully complete that learning path. In other words, if you do all the track exams, suddenly 64 credits appear in your continuing education account, and they can start getting used to recertify other exams, or even this one if you were already certified. So,
and we have a great program for that too, for those who don't have access at a paid level for Cisco U, the Rev Up to Recert program that we run, right?
Yeah.
It allows you to capture all of this and get some more CE credit if you have presence at the Cisco Live, attending DevNet sessions, attending breakouts. You know, there's plenty of ways to get CE credit. And our Cisco U Spotlight event, that was
credits too. Yeah,
more
exactly.
credits there.
Yeah,
you could have accumulated up to 30 or 27, something like that. So there's, we
loads
got
of
you.
ways. Yeah,
We got you. So,
and like I was saying at the beginning, and what I did is I grabbed a screenshot of my own information in the certification tracker. So there's 2 sites, and again, we'll put all the links in the description. But if you go to your certification tracking information, right? So if you type in Google Cisco Cert Tracker, it'll bring you right to this page, and you can click on your current certifications and have a look at your continuing education information. And you can see, right, I've got a bunch of different certs. It looks like they've all been renewed right up to 2028, October 1st, 2028. And you can see the number of credits that I've already accumulated for each one of those. You can see that I'm really close, right? There's a bunch on 30, right? 30 of 40. So I just need 10 more credits to renew a bunch of my certifications. I need a few more to renew my CCNP Enterprise if I wanted to. But you notice they're all now aligned on that one date. And as I continue to accumulate credits or go take exams, everything will kind of get reset from that point potentially. So please do check out your continuing education profile and your cert tracker information as well.
I do have a quick question on this.
Sure.
Point of clarification. So I see all of the ones that are at the associate, what I would assume are at the associate level, are on October 1st, 2028. But the CCNA or CCNP Enterprise is in August.
Yeah.
Is that because certain CE credits hit at the professional level versus the associate?
That's a really good question. Actually, I was talking to our colleague, Brad, who helped me understand this a little bit more clearly yesterday. When you get a bunch of credits, so let's say I go back here for a second and I get those 64 credits for Enterprise Core, all of those credits get applied across all of the different levels. So if you had associate and professional and expert, they all get applied and not just kind of like trickled, like a little bit here and a little bit there. They all get applied. And so all of your, percentages, your tracking kind of keeps going forward in that way.
Okay.
The reason the Enterprise one is showing August is because don't forget that for that certification, that's multiple exams, right? And so it might depend on when I renewed one exam versus another. That might be the reason why that one has a bit of a different date to it. But anyways, so myth number 2, gents, there are a bunch of different ways to recertify an exam. So please look into that, folks. Please look into that.
Unfortunately, Patrick's episode ran a little long, so we're going to break it up into 2 parts. So this is the end of the first part of it, and then next week we'll give you guys the second part. So join us next week to see the end of the myth-busting episode with Patrick.